Have you ever met someone who's always smiling, like, even when their world is quietly falling apart? They joke, they reassure, they hold everyone together, and yet something in their eyes feels distant. That's not just kindness, that's psychology. Some people don't smile because they're happy, they smile because it's the only way they learn to stay safe. Let's break down the hidden emotional story behind the people who always seem okay but rarely are. Some people carry a smile like it's a second skin, not the loud kind, not exaggerated. It's subtle, soft, believable, even when everything is falling apart inside. You've seen it before, maybe in someone close to you, or maybe in the mirror. The person who says, "I'm fine," with just enough warmth to make you believe them and just enough hesitation to make you wonder if they mean it. These are the people who laugh during the hardest seasons, who offer comfort while quietly aching, who keep the mood light so no one else feels heavy. And the question lingers, why do some people keep smiling through everything, even when they're hurting? It's easy to assume it's optimism, or emotional strength, or denial, but often it's something else, something much older, much quieter, something they learned before they ever had the words to explain it. Because sometimes a smile isn't joy, it's armor, a soft, practiced reflex designed to protect both themselves and the people around them. And once you understand that, you stop seeing the smile as a mask and start recognizing it as a message. People who smile through everything often didn't choose that strategy. It was chosen for them by the world they grew up in. Many learned early that emotions were unpredictable currency, that if you expressed sadness, you made others uncomfortable, that if you showed anger, it only escalated things, that being cheerful made life smoother for everyone else, so they adapted. They learned to soothe instead of stir, to ease tension rather than express it, to smile, not because they were happy, but because it helped them stay safe. Psychologists call this emotional masking. It's when you suppress what's real to show what's acceptable. There's also something called the fawn response, a trauma informed concept. It's what happens when you try to keep the peace by becoming agreeable, pleasing, even overly accommodating. For the chronic smiler, the goal was never deception, it was harmony. Keeping others calm felt safer than being honest about what they were feeling. And over time, this becomes instinct. Smiling becomes second nature, not because everything is okay, but because smiling prevents things from getting worse. Think about what that does to a child's understanding of emotions. When you learn early that your sadness makes your parents withdraw, that your anger makes teachers label you difficult, that your quietness gets mistaken for weakness. You start editing yourself. You become a curator of what's acceptable to feel. And the smile becomes your way of saying, "Don't worry about me, I won't be a problem." It's not that they were explicitly told to hide their feelings. It's more subtle than that. They just noticed what got rewarded. Cheerfulness got attention. Positivity got approval. Being easy got love. So they became easy. They learned to carry their own weight silently, to process their pain privately, to only show the parts of themselves that made others comfortable. And here's what most people miss. This isn't manipulation. It's adaptation. It's what the nervous system does when it realizes that emotional honesty feels dangerous. So the smile becomes both a shield and a bridge, a way to stay connected without risking rejection. People like this are often praised. "You're so positive. You always lift the mood. You're the strong one." And that praise reinforces the pattern. Because who wants to disappoint the world by revealing what's behind the smile? But beneath that warmth, there's often an unspoken fatigue, the kind that builds when you've carried others for too long and forgotten how to be carried yourself. The smile then becomes both a gift and a quiet weight, because there's a cost to smiling through everything, not immediately, but slowly, quietly, cumulatively. When you spend your life making others feel better, you risk losing contact with how you actually feel. It creates a subtle disconnection, a gap between what your face shows and what your heart holds. And the longer that gap goes unspoken, the heavier it becomes. Chronic emotional suppression doesn't just disappear, it settles into the body. It becomes tension in your shoulders, a knot in your stomach, a constant undercurrent of anxiety that you can't quite explain. You become exhausted, but you don't look tired. You struggle, but people think you're thriving. You want to be seen, but you've trained the world not to look too closely. And then there's the identity trap. When you've been the strong one for so long, it becomes hard to admit when you're not. You don't want to burden anyone. You don't want to disrupt the version of you they admire. So you keep smiling, even when you need help, especially when you need help. Because somewhere along the way, you stop believing that people would love you if they saw the whole picture. The smile became your currency, your value, your proof that you deserved space in other people's lives. And the thought of losing that, of being seen as broken or needy or too much, it feels like losing yourself. So you split. There's the version of you the world sees, smiling, steady, dependable. And then there's the version that exists in the quiet hours, the one that feels everything you've been holding back. That gap between the two, it grows wider over time. And the loneliness isn't just about being alone. It's about being surrounded by people who think they know you, but only know the part you've let them see. That's the invisible cost. You become fluent in everyone else's pain, but illiterate in your own. You can sense when someone else is struggling from across a room, but you can't quite name what you're carrying because you've been performing emotional stability for so long that you've forgotten what your baseline actually feels like. Here's the heartbreaking part. The people who smile through everything often become emotional anchors for everyone around them, but they rarely receive the same in return. They check on others, they listen, they hold space, but few people ask, "How are you really?" Because the smile has already answered for them. And yet, the smile isn't fake, it's not performative, it's protective. It says, "I've learned how to stay steady when life is chaotic, but also, I'm tired of holding it all alone." Let's pause here, because this isn't a story about emotional repression, it's a story about adaptation. The smile, that quiet, steady presence, it's not deception, it's resilience, a kind of emotional fluency, a way of navigating the world with grace, even when it doesn't feel graceful inside. People who smile through everything have developed what psychologists might call adaptive resilience. It's the ability to maintain function, to show up, to stay safe even when life isn't. They've learned to transmute pain into peace, to turn inner chaos into calm outer presence. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. It's the strength to hold your own sadness without leaking it onto everyone else. The strength to feel deeply and still choose kindness. But, and this is important, even the strongest strategies need balance. Because real healing begins not when you learn to smile through the storm, but when you feel safe enough to let the smile drop. When you realize that you're allowed to be held, that you don't have to be the container all the time. That tenderness can flow to you, not just from you. You're allowed to say, "I'm not okay today." And that doesn't undo your strength. It deepens it, because a smile that only knows how to hide becomes lonely. But a smile that knows when to rest, that's when it becomes real. So, what happens when you finally give yourself permission to stop smiling? Not forever, just for a moment, just long enough to breathe, to feel, to be. Something tender begins to unfold. The world doesn't fall apart. You don't become a burden, you become honest. You realize that smiling through pain isn't failure, it's survival. But silence, softness, and self revelation, they can coexist with strength. You are not less for needing rest. You are not weak for craving space where you don't have to perform your piece. Because your smile isn't a lie, it's a language. But even the most fluent speaker deserves a moment of stillness where someone understands them without translation. And maybe that's the shift. You stop asking who needs you to smile and start asking what you need to feel whole, to be seen behind the expression, to be loved not just for your light, but also for your shadow. There is healing in letting someone see the whole you, even the messy parts, especially the messy parts. And slowly you learn. The smile doesn't have to disappear, it just has to become honest. And in that honesty, you begin returning to yourself, the you that feels, the you that hurts, the you that heals, the you behind the warmth, still strong, still kind, but no longer silent, just real. Do you ever feel like you smile to make others feel comfortable? Have you ever hidden your pain behind a gentle expression? Or does your smile feel like a part of you that the world misunderstood? If this story resonated, remember to like the video, subscribe, press the bell icon, and share it with someone who might need it. Our other stories should be appearing on your screen now. Watch them next, and I'll see you tomorrow at the same time with a brand new video.